Good afternoon. Happy Friday. It's May 29th. We are in now couple 2.5 months into our stay-at-home order and wanted to thank everyone out there in the Scranton community for continuing to really be responsible and understand that getting through this COVID crisis is taking a lot of work from everybody. It's a lot of sacrifice, and we appreciate you continuing to stay at home as much as you can and support yourselves, support your families, support all those frontline workers who have been risking it all in the last couple of months. I am very heartened by the numbers of cases and deaths here in Lackawanna County. They are finally trending down. It's been, I'm always afraid when I open that email at noon every day, but it is continuing to go down here. So that's really good news. And the reason that we're in this position is because you all have done such a great job. So thank you. We are not out of the woods in any way, shape, or form. The virus is still here. We have to learn to live with the virus. We can't declare victory. We can't just wash our hands and walk away. This is a new normal that we're living in and creating as we go through these days and weeks. And something that we can look forward to, though, is that here in Lackawanna County, it looks like if things continue to trend in the right way, we will go into the yellow phase on June 5th. So it's my honor today to be joined by Mayor Derek Slaughter of Williamsport. Mayor Slaughter has been steering his city through this crisis, and they've been in yellow phase for a few weeks now, I think. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to hear from Mayor Slaughter. What's it been like to be in yellow phase? What are the things that their community has seen happen that's been positive? What's been a challenge? What are the challenges that have come up? And what's advice for us as we prepare to go in 2 weeks? So I want to introduce Mayor Slaughter. He and I met each other, I guess, through one of the many kind of mayors groups that we're a part of across the country. I think, Mayor, we're actually on a Zoom call again this afternoon with some of our innovation cohort.
Yeah,
We have
I
learned
think right
so
after
much.
this.
Yeah, we have learned so much from all of these other mayors, the veteran mayors, the other new mayors, and each other. So I'm grateful for your friendship, and I'm honored to have you on today.
Likewise, thank you for having me. And it is a challenge, as you said, and I think Mayor Cognetti, the way you said, we're not out of the woods yet, and I think that's one of the key pieces to keep in mind as you transition to yellow, is that it doesn't mean yellow means caution, and so the goal is to continue to progress forward. And in order to do that, you have to exercise caution. Yellow, of course, can, opens a few more things and allows a little more flexibility, but there's still the precautions you need to take. And the goal is for all of us to get the green, obviously. But in order to do that, we still have to work together. And so we were fortunate here in Williamsport and Lycoming County to move to yellow a few weeks ago. And things are going pretty well. Of course, we're not unlike any other municipality across the country. We've had challenges. We've had, business and industry take serious hits, but we're working together, and we've had a lot of innovation and creativity, and a lot of people step up and help each other. And so that's allowed us to continue to move forward as well.
I know that the guidance has been changing for good reason, as every single day there's new information that is from the federal government, the state government. We're all learning new things. So the guidance for yellow phase for us going into June 5th, I'm sure will be different 2 weeks, or 1 week from now. 1 week from now, and I'm sure it's different than your initial guidance a few weeks ago. But what are some things maybe that, looking back, you would have done differently, or maybe highlighted for people, or emphasized a little bit more, or things that you didn't know about yellow phase that could help us as we look to next week?
Well, one of the things that changed for us the other day was when Governor Wolf allows the outdoor dining in yellow phase. So that was a change for us, where we now are looking at outdoor. Some of our restaurants don't have outdoor seating capacity, so we're looking at, as I'm sure you've seen articles as well, putting tables in various locations throughout the city. We're exploring possibly lifting our open container law here to stimulate help the local restaurants, so people could go grab dinner, and a drink, sit down right outside, and then hopefully frequent some other businesses in the area. I think the key thing really is just to continue to work together. The only way we move forward is really to work together. So in yellow, I keep driving that home, that you have to be safe, you have to be measured, and like you said in your opening, this is something we have to live with for right now. It's not like there's a vaccine or a drug. We have to still adhere to the CDC guidelines. We still have to adhere to obviously the state and DOH guidelines, but you are allowed some more businesses to open up, some more restaurants, et cetera, with outdoor capacity. So, I'm not sure. Looking back, it's only been a few weeks for us at this point, and we're constantly reviewing. And I have my mayor's advisory board that we meet every few weeks as well to review. We're working on a contact tracing plan program with UPMC here in Williamsport. We have a UPMC campus. We're very fortunate to have a great health system here. And so that's not approved yet, but we're working through that process. So there's still some things, even though we're in yellow, that, we're still working on. We're not fully, it's not like everything's 100% in place yet. That's why we still have to be careful. There's still a lot of moving parts and a lot of ongoing initiatives that we're working on.
So under yellow, retail is open, right? You're able to have retail. If you're a smaller retail business, are there occupancy limits for those businesses, or has that been left up more to the owner of the business?
There's occupancy. Retail 50%, I believe. I don't have that in front of me right now, but they're still recommending, curbside pickup.
Sure. Yeah.
is preferable. But our TJ Maxx, I know that was a lot of questions I was getting. People love TJ Maxx.
They do.
And I think that opened yesterday. But retail is still, they want you to do online and curbside pickup if you can. But there are maximum, but it's helped our small businesses. They've been able to, some of the retail obviously has now been able to open. It's helped some of our restaurants with the outdoor dining. And so, folks are starting to open up now gradually. And so really what we're doing from a city is keeping a pulse on that, and where can we help out? What are you seeing? Because it's going to be different today than a month from now or 3 months from now. So, we're working on some of our loan program funds that we have are easy funds from the state, from DCD. And what that program might look like, we have about $750,000. So what we're saying is, listen, we don't want to allocate all of those funds right here at the beginning, because 3 months or 6 months from now, businesses may be in a different situation. Hopefully they're a lot better, but we still want to have some funds available throughout as we move forward, help as many as we can right now, and then as the needs change, where can we facilitate and help out to meet those needs.
It's excellent that those retailers have at least been able to open their doors again. And I know that's something that we are very anxious for here in Scranton. Lackawanna County is the only red county after today up in this region outside of Southeast. So we're chomping at the bit to open, but we want to do it safely. We want to do it gradually. And we're in touch with our businesses to understand what they need and how we can help them out. We did determine that we've got enterprise zone funds that we can use. So we are going to be doing a grant and loan program ourselves very soon, which is very exciting to get some of those funds out to our businesses as they try to either make ends meet or pay for things for outdoor dining if it's a restaurant. I mean, those tables and chairs aren't free, right? So exactly. trying to help them make those updates and those changes. How are you thinking about has anything changed under yellow phase with your parks? Has that been a change, or are you kind of status quo?
Yeah, we're still status quo there. The guidance is still to keep the parks closed. Even in yellow, it's 25 and under. and so gatherings.
Hmm.
So our city council extended my proclamation, and what they did was just made it align to whatever the governor's orders are. So
Hmm.
right now that's 25 and under. So for our city parks, it'd be very difficult to monitor and keep it at 25 and under. As soon as you open, of course, with tennis and basketball and other recreation, it would most likely on a nice day go way over 25.
Right.
So at this point, we're still keeping the city parks closed, and then we're going to continue to monitor that as we move forward here. Hopefully we're able, we're a little bit different situation than you are. We're more spread out here in Lycoming County. We
Hmm.
don't have the population density.
Yeah.
So we're hopeful that we'll be going to green here in
Yeah.
the near future.
Hope so.
But even in green, it's still, there's still restrictions, there's still guidelines. You're not out of the, you're not out of the woods yet. And so,
Right.
but still, yeah, with the parks, it's still, I know everyone is chomping at the bit to get out, but we've been promoting, there's a number of other recreational activities, that you can partake in beyond just the park. I want the parks open. I want people to be able to
Yeah.
go into parks, but we have to realize that we have to be able to provide a safe environment as well.
Right.
And right now, kids congregating and playing on equipment or basketball or tennis, we just don't want a whole bunch of congregation right now. We don't feel like that's the safest at the moment.
Right. That's where we've kept our parks open, but we've roped off the play equipment and the team sports areas. We've of course have had to re-rope that a couple of times, and the basketball hoops that were boarded over we had to reboard them a couple of times, which I cannot wait for the day that we can take those off. I want to be a part of that. You and I have talked about that a few times. It's terrible to have to keep those things closed, but to your point, there's a difference about taking a walk with your dog that's different than playing basketball game, a pickup basketball with 10 folks. So that's a distinction we've been making. That's where I've been continuing to push the masks, that you go to the park, enjoy the park, but please wear a mask out of respect for your neighbors. I'm still seeing so many people that aren't doing that. I was gutted last night because there was a WBRE, it was just one of the stations here, did a thing about Scranton, and they went around to people in Scranton and a bunch of people weren't wearing masks. So that was at 11 o'clock at night. That was I didn't feel good about that. So we still have a lot of work to do to get people to wear those masks. And we hear more and more from every level, from all the experts that I respect, and our local hospitals and infectious disease specialists as well, that the masks are maybe the most important thing that we can do until we get a vaccine. So we're really trying to push that. We'll be getting some new signage for our parks and public spaces to enforce that. But the play equipment, to your point about keeping people safe, I don't feel comfortable opening up that play equipment, unfortunately, especially as it's very rare, but you are hearing about some COVID related issues for kids. And I'm just not, there's no way we can hose down, sanitize a play equipment every time a child goes on it. It's impossible. Not feasible operationally, or as we know with our budgets, we couldn't do that. Right. So, and that's the same with the pools. I know you and I have been in touch about that, and maybe we can do something at some point in the summer, but it's not something that I feel comfortable opening at this time.
Yeah, and even in green, there's still restrictions and guidance in green, and right. It's so difficult when you have a bunch of kids in a pool and they're excited. It could potentially put your lifeguards in a confrontational situation where they're trying to enforce, and it's difficult because kids will be excited, they're wanting to swim, and how do you socially,
right? And you don't want kids not to have the entertainment and the activities, but you also don't want to modify those activities so much that they're no longer fun.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're exploring other other recreational opportunities that the city can provide safely, that adheres to all the guidelines. But that, to your point, that are still fun, that kids want to do. And so we're working through those right now, and see, once we're in the green, what can we offer?
Yeah, and maybe our parks departments can communicate about that. I know my team's putting together something, but we would benefit from working together, because I know you've got kids and I have a very small one, and thinking about, I mean, already it's broken my heart. We said hello to her cousins for the first time in the driveway. And that
Right.
was,
Right.
it was almost, I almost wish we hadn't done it, because it was just like, hey, these are your cousins, but you can't go see them.
Right.
That
Right. Right.
it just, I think it's kind of confusing for kids. And yeah, you wouldn't want to have a pool where you can only be in this little circle.
Right.
And
Right. And then once they get out of the pool, put their mask back on, and
right, it just,
what if they don't have a
yeah,
mask or it gets wet, and it's
I know. And a lot of people have sent me stuff. Oh, Mayor Cognetti, but the pools aren't going to be a conduit for COVID. And I say, I appreciate that fact, but what about outside of the pool and getting into the pool? It's a
right, right,
very different,
right. And kids
very,
running
very
around. Yeah. I mean, are you gonna like square off an area?
different.
I mean, it would be very
No, no.
difficult,
I
as you
also don't
said.
want to yeah, we don't want to make, we want to make the summer fun and not weird. So yeah, any ideas that you have, and we'll share any ideas that we've gotten for that. Um, in terms of city operations, anything in yellow phase that changed for you all in the city that you think I should be thinking about and my team should be thinking about?
I think even in yellow, one of the, from an employee standpoint, it's still to work remotely as
Right.
much as feasible. So, you know, obviously, like with any city, we had employees that are comfortable, coming in and wearing a mask and maintaining the social distance. And then we had others that, said, I'm just more comfortable right now, still staying at home. Coming in, obviously, when needed, if I need to come into the office. So that's still the guidance in yellow is work
Yeah.
remotely as much as possible. But when you come into the office, as you said earlier, respect each other's, personal space. Some people are clearly, there's people all over the spectrum with this. Some are extremely comfortable interacting with masks in a closer proximity. Some aren't even with masks on. So I think it's just really, um, respecting each other's comfort level, and that we are, everyone mentally, emotionally, are all over the place right now as we transition through these different phases, and we have to be mindful of that. So that's kind of the message that I've been pushing here with our city employees, is that although you may be a little more comfortable, there's others that aren't, and we have to be respectful of that. So here in Williamsport, the way our city hall is set up, almost everyone, we're a little more fortunate, pretty much everyone has their own office space. We have a whole separate topic of city hall.
Yeah. Another
But
town hall. We'll talk about
yeah,
that.
we have a lot of space here, which in this case has been fortunate. We've been able
Yeah.
to easily spread out. And so when employees are here, they've been spaced out. But we control our transit arm. And so our bus drivers and the public has been extremely, for the most part, respectful of our bus drivers, and maintaining the social distance on the buses. So, even our police and our fire and codes, we're knock on wood, we've been fortunate throughout this as
Yeah.
far as COVID related items
It's
for
great.
for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what's going to be interesting too is that you will have been in yellow for, it sounds like probably at least a month before green. We're looking at the phases as they stand now. We could go yellow June 5th and go green as soon as June 19th, which again, that's great. That means our social distancing is working. That means the virus is at bay to a point, and it means we can get people sitting down in restaurants sooner, all of that. But it also, for me, in terms of being the executive of the city, it really, the pressure is on to make a lot of changes very quickly. And so
Mhm.
we're trying to make sure that we're able to phase into these phases in a way that makes sense. But to your point about yellow phase still promoting working remotely, we're not making any planning for any changes during yellow phase in terms of working from home for city employees. This remains, if you feel comfortable coming in, you certainly can.
Yeah.
But I don't plan to have big meetings. Our staff meeting will remain on Zoom, all of those types of things. So we'll have to go into these phases in pretty quick succession, which is a good thing. But it'll just be interesting where people like you down in a county like Lycoming that's been yellow for so long, that's a different set of factors. But I mean, I'm hoping that we are sitting here in a few weeks and we're both in green and we're talking about ways that we can open things up more, open even more things up safely. And hopefully we're talking about ways that we can help businesses that are open and trying to get back to normal. Of course, we're all worried about different businesses that won't be able to reopen, and that's a reality that is really hard, and it's throughout the country.
Yeah, and that was one of our concerns, even in yellow, is even when he allowed the outdoor dining, you still have restaurants that would possibly might have to shut their doors because they don't have outdoor dining space, and so that's one of the key things we're wrestling with right now. Is to how we don't want anybody to shut their doors for good, obviously. So how can we get creative? How can we work together? And as you said, working with all these mayors from all over the Commonwealth and all over the country, getting the ideas has been just it's been tremendous. Because I couldn't imagine having to try to do all of this, by ourselves.
Yeah, me either. And you and I both came in first week of January. And we were already in touch with Mayor Srirachi in Lancaster as a mentor, and others around the state and the country. But our conversations in January and February, it was probably late February where we started to talk about COVID a little bit, but could have never realized that this would be a months-long thing, that we would be closing city halls, and that I've probably signed more emergency. I've signed, I think, 4 extensions to the state of emergency. You just could never prepare, and I couldn't do this without you and without our colleagues.
Right.
So I deeply appreciate it.
Absolutely, likewise. And the other thing, I mean, our city hall is still closed. We did open up our codes department for building permits and such. So obviously, socially distanced when they come in. But other than that, right now, it's by appointment if there's an absolute need to meet with someone. But our city hall is not open to the public at this time. None of our city buildings are still, even in yellow, because we're still exercising caution. The number one priority obviously is health and safety of the community. Right. And so we're not to a point yet right now where, we can just have the public just coming in to the buildings and, without the proper protocol in place. So we're working on what that's going to look like. We're working on, if and when, when we transition to green at some point here, what are the policies and the protocols going to look like? And so, I with you, I've signed, more proclamations and COVID related items than I could have ever imagined. But, for us, it's worked, so we're fortunate. The policies and procedures that we put into place early on have allowed our numbers to stay relatively low.
You guys have had very low numbers. It's been tremendous.
We're fortunate, and I'm sensitive to we had one outbreak outside of the city in a nursing home, and that was extremely unfortunate, obviously. But outside of that, our county and our city has done a very good job of adhering to the guidelines and keeping the numbers low. And it was, these were not easy decisions, as you're well aware, to shut something down or close something. And it's the unknown. You'll never know if you did too much, but we definitely will know if we did too little. And so that's kind of where we are now. We've positioned ourselves in a position to reopen, and we're not one of the first counties in green, but I think we'll be in the second round. I'm hopeful. I don't know, but we're in a position to open in the green very soon. And I think it's due to the hard work of all of our citizens and the policies and procedures that we put in place early on. And now we can safely and gradually start to reopen.
That's great. Well, I appreciate you being there for us over in Williamsport. I appreciate everything that we do together with our other mayor friends. And I'm very excited for next year when hopefully we're back to normal and you have the Little League World Series and we have St. Patrick's Day and we have all those things that make our communities unique. I will look forward to going to the World Series, and then you have to come to Scranton when we can have one of our big celebrations.
Right, absolutely. You're looking forward to that. I think we're all looking forward to that, and I can't wait. I'm excited. Thank you for having me on and everything that you're doing to support, get us through this together. So
thank you. I appreciate it. And I'll see you at 1:00 on our next meeting.
Sounds good. Thanks,
All
Mayor.
right, thanks, Mayor.
Yep, bye.
Bye. Okay, great. So yeah, Lake Holman County's been on yellow for some time now. I wanted to work through a little bit what yellow means. There's so much information out there, and I wanted to make sure that we could go through it. You'll see on our website, we consolidated the guidance a bit, so it'd be a little bit more user-friendly for those of you who just want to go to one place. I think we'll be able to put this on we're going to try to put it on the Zoom as well. We'll see if that works or not. But I just wanted to go through just kind of the real quick hits of what yellow phase means and make sure that you all understand. And then we've got more guidance on the website that we consolidated to you guys, links to the Department of Health and the Commonwealth website, where it's building safety restrictions, worker safety protocols, those types of things. Wanted to make sure that those are easy for you to find. So as yellow stands right now, so you still have the congregation restrictions. It's still 25 no more than 25 people at a gathering. And I realize that is a strange guidance, given that we've got stores that are open that have more than 25 people. So the way that I interpret this is at a store, you have social distancing, you have masks that are really mandatory, and you have the business owners that can tell you what they've done to sanitize those stations, for example. That's different than, you're supposed to stay 6 feet away from the person in front of you at the line at the grocery store. That's different than a group of 25 or more at a party, right? So that's where we see the difference. That's how we're interpreting here in Scranton. So again, to reinforce that we are still this week in red phase. It is going to be next Friday that we are in the yellow phase when we can do 25 and more. But that's how I interpret that difference, is as a business owner, as an organization in a building, there's protocols in place that you have to follow. It's different if you have everybody over for your kid's birthday party, right? You're not going to be social distancing at your house or in your backyard. So that's where those differences come in my interpretation of that. And that's how we'll kind of approach this from a city level. So we've gotten a lot of questions from churches. And so again, this weekend, if you observe on Sunday, for example, it's still 10 or fewer. So we're still not in a place where we can have church services. We're still in that red phase. Next week, starting next Friday, that relaxes a little bit in that you can have services, make sure that it's 25 or fewer people, but as long as you're spaced out and you're taking those precautions, I think you can have some of those, again, smaller services. Drive-in services, we got some questions. I think as long as you are wearing masks, if you get out of the car and you're not all congregating together, if you're in your car, you're just outside of your car and you're not having a big essential congregation all together in the same small space, I don't see why a drive-in service starting next weekend would be a problem. Same with the yard sales. In yellow phase again next week, if retail can be open, I don't see why we can't have outside yard sales. So again, not this weekend, please. Next weekend, but keep in mind, most everybody's been to a grocery store by now. If you have a yard sale, please make sure you wear a mask to that person's yard sale. As a homeowner that is having a yard sale, wear a mask yourself, wear gloves, please, if you can. have sanitizer available, maybe where you're handling, definitely where you're handling money for you and for your patrons. And then even, maybe on the other side of the garage, have another set of sanitation of pumps. But please practice that social distancing. You can't have a bunch of people milling around, a couple people at a time. And we'd love it if you can wait till green phase. That would be ideal. Really, really, if you can wait till green phase for your yard sale, please do. If you need to have one, if there's some life event that has done that, then go ahead. But we would really, really ask that you do it during the green phase, which we hope would be coming up pretty soon. So telework is supposed to continue or feasible under yellow. So that's important. As Mayor Slaughter and I discussed, they're in yellow now and they're still teleworking at City Hall for the most part. We'll continue to do that at City Hall in Scranton under yellow phase. And for those of you who are working, your own business or for other people, telework is still the guidance of the governor. So childcare may open complying with guidance in the yellow phase. That's big news. It also means that we'll start to have kids interacting with each other. So those childcare centers have a real. They always have the biggest task I can imagine by keeping kids safe. But having those extra sanitation protocols is really important. So if you are a childcare provider, please look at the guidance from the state on that. Then let's see, obviously schools are still closed. And as we head into May or head into June, that's, obviously those schools are closed for the remainder of the year. So with retail, so curbside and delivery is still preferable for retail. That's important. It's preferable if you have a business that you can do some curbside, great. If you have people coming in the store, please, just make sure it's not too many people. There is guidance, and we'll make sure that we post that. I don't want to say the wrong thing because I don't have it right in front of me. I think it's based on your occupancy. We're checking that in the city. We're checking with Chief Lucas and Tom Oleski in our licensing department to make sure that we've got it right. We'll continue to get that guidance out. We're working with Scranton Tomorrow to get. We have now right all from the state. Scranton Tomorrow is helping us get some more of this information out to the businesses so they have a better understanding of what this looks like. But curbside and delivery preferable, and with restaurants and bars, same thing. Seating is actually allowed outdoors, but curbside delivery is still preferable. Was very encouraged when we saw that guidance come out earlier this week that you could do outdoor dining at restaurants. We have sent up to City Council an ordinance to let us waive the permitting and licensing processes as normal to extend your dining out of your restaurant onto your sidewalk. We still need to know at the city that you're doing it. We're not going to charge you though, and we're not going to make you post for 30 days or whatever the current guidance is. So we want to make it easy for people to expand out into those sidewalks, and City Council will be considering that on their meeting on Thursday. So that's exciting. Under yellow phases, so if it passes City Council Thursday night, Friday, but we literally will open Friday. Businesses can go out into their sidewalks, but we do need you to please connect with our licensing and permits to let them know that you're doing that. So that piece is there, but we're not going to charge you or make you go through a whole rigmarole to do that. We want to be able to have you open for business, and patrons we're wanting you to be able to eat outside, while distancing and while wearing those masks to and from the tables. There's some very specific guidance about wearing masks until you sit down, wearing masks when you get up, those types of things. That guidance is still shifting, but I'm really excited myself to be able to sit outside and maybe have a somewhat of a date with my partner, and I'm excited that a week from now we can do that. We should be able to do it if those numbers keep under what they need to be. So What is not open under yellow is health and wellness facilities and personal care facilities. So gyms, spas, hair salons, nail salons, massage therapy, and then entertainment, such as casinos and theaters, are also not open. So that's kind of the quick look at what yellow means. Again, not there till next week, but excited to hopefully be there a week from now, which would be just tremendous. As we look at all of this, our small businesses are suffering, and we are all worried for our businesses. So we are working on grant programs and loan programs. So that should be coming out very, very soon. We'll get more guidance out to you for that, and we'll post the guidance before we would open that window so that there's time to make sure that you qualify before you apply. We don't want a situation where we have businesses that don't qualify to applying to ours. It will, of course, be businesses that are located in Scranton. The business has to be located in Scranton. So that's the first piece of it. And we'll get the rest of that out to you, and we'll maybe have more specifics, hopefully, when we do our town hall on Tuesday. So also next Tuesday is Election Day. It is the Pennsylvania primary, finally. So we asked so many times. I hope you guys were able to get your mail-in ballot applications. I know that my husband got his, he asked for it on the deadline day, and he got it the next day, and it's in the mail now. So thanks to the county elections board, thanks to Mary Medalis, the director, for doing a great job and turning these things around so quickly. So hopefully we were able to vote by mail, so you don't have to go to the polls next week. If you do need to go to the polls, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. next Tuesday. And we'll post that link to find your polling location. There are some changes to the polling locations. They'll be marked on the buildings that you usually go to, where to go. It won't be far, but there are some changes there. So we'll make sure that we post where that is. If you have questions about where your polling location is, you can call the elections office at 963-6737, 963-6737, and they can let you know how that's changed. For those of you who do have mail-in, who do have your actual ballot to hand in, remember, you can't go vote as well. You can only do your mail-in ballot. You can drop it off outside of the county building at 123 Wyoming Avenue. It has to be there by 8 p.m. on June 2nd. Postmarks don't count. You can't send it on election day. You've got to get it to the county office building. So I'm excited about this because I think this is a great test for how we continue to enable more people to vote at home. That's really important for enabling more people to vote at all. And it's a good test run for November. And here we go. I'm sorry I hadn't scrolled down all the way. We do have the polling location changes. I'll just run through them quickly. So you can find them on our Facebook page. You can go to lackawannacounty.org. So if you're in Ward 2-1, it's not the Firehouse, it's now Holy Rosary. 5-1, it used to be Jackson Heights, now go to the West Side Senior Center. 7-1, not going to be at the Boys and Girls Club on Ash Street, now you vote at the Lackawanna County Government Center, the county building itself. 2-3 is on East Mountain, is not the Firehouse right now, it's going to be at the Marine Corps League. 16-1, so not at Washington West Apartments, you go to the Government Center. 17-2, not voting at the Hebrew Day School, go to the Lackawanna County Government Center. And then 23-2, usually the American Legion Post, now go to the Green Ridge Assembly of God Church on Green Ridge Street. So those are all posted on Facebook, lackawannacounty.org. If you need to call us, you could call us to 348-4101 and we can get that to you. Okay. In terms of COVID itself, rock the mask. I was so disappointed when I saw that the WBRE reporter was interviewing so many people and they didn't have masks on. They didn't even have them around their necks. So really it really is a show of respect to other people to wear a mask. So please do that. If you're experiencing symptoms, 1-877-PA Health or 284-3657 is Geisinger. The testing site at Mohegan Sun is no longer operating. You can get tested by signing up at riteaid.com, or CVS now has testing at 509 Davis Street, which is, I'm so happy there's one in Scranton now. You can pre-register for testing at cvs.com and set up an appointment. All right. So with the contact tracing, Mayor Slaughter mentioned that they're doing, they have a program that they're starting up in Williamsport for us here at this stage. Sign up if you want to help with the Governor's Civilian Corps. They can hire you and train you to do that, and that's serv.pa.gov. Okay. Okay, so we've been through a lot of this. Let's see if there's anything new. Okay, so we had some questions on Tuesday that I wanted to follow up with you on. Recycling. So the recycling center is still not accepting the commingled material. We are in touch with them to figure out what that's going to look like going forward. And in these couple of months of COVID, I've been able to mentally understand why we have to do this. If we need to make changes going forward, we will work as hard as we can to make those changes so we can start recycling those commingled materials as soon as possible. So right now, the commingles are still, we're picking them up, but they're not getting to the recycling center as it's closed for COVID-related reasons. As soon as that changes, we will let you know. And I appreciate you asking about it. And it's something that is a focus of ours to make sure that we can get the recycling back up as soon as possible. For rent rebates. So someone asked a question about rent rebates. I wasn't sure. This is actually a county program, so wanted to get that information to you. So it's a property tax rent rebate program. It's the Area Agency on Aging at the county that runs it. So you can call the Area Agency on Aging at it's a state program run through the county. The Area Agency on Aging, 963-6740. Again, 963-6740. You can arrange for an outreach worker to work with you to apply for this rent rebate program. So again, state program run through the county. Jason Kavulich at the Area Agency on Aging does a tremendous job, and you can call them 963-6740. Okie dokie. Those are a couple of those items. Unemployment remains a real challenge, and I know that a lot of people out there are really needing that money now. So remind you that there's the pandemic unemployment assistance and the standard unemployment compensation. The pandemic unemployment assistance is for those of you who wouldn't qualify for traditional unemployment compensation. If you're a gig economy worker, part-time, sole proprietor, those types of things. It's that PUA, that pandemic unemployment assistance that you can look at. So unemployment comp is uc.pa.gov. And then the PUA is also at ucpa.gov. But those are two different things. You can just apply to PUA. You don't have to try UC and then go to PUA. Just go directly to the PUA if you fit in that sole proprietorship, that the gig economy worker category. And if we get any more information about unemployment, we will let you know. I know it's a real challenge for a lot of states to be ramping up these programs. They never thought they would see the volume that they are seeing now. So on the food access front, Friends of the Poor will have its emergency drive-through Wednesday, June 3rd from 2:30 to 5:30. And that's at the Parker Hill Church on Route 6. So the old Kmart up on Route 6 in Dixon City, 2:30 to 5:30 on June 3rd. It's a nice big parking lot, so it'll be easy to socially distance up there. Call 211 if you need rental assistance, food assistance, or utilities assistance. 211 remains a great resource. And just wanted to, oh, sorry, I missed this. There were 140 volunteers that got food boxes to 900 families at the Friends of the Poor drive-thru at PNC on Wednesday. That's amazing. That's just so amazing. So, wow, Sister Ann, thank you for that, Linda and Megan. Everybody at FOTP does a great job. So thank you. That's an incredible statistic. So again, the next one, Dixon City, Parker Hill Church on Route 6, the next drive-through giveaway from Friends of the Poor, and that's Wednesday, June 3rd at 2:30 to 5:30. The other pieces remain in place. For example, the Salvation Army daily food drop 344-9878. Okay, I know it's running a little bit late, so let me hop down. I guess we'll do quickly. Meals on Wheels, volunteer 346-2421. United Neighborhood Centers, volunteer 346-0759. 1-800 Red Cross, they need blood donations, so please donate blood if you can. 1-800 Red Cross, they'll get you an appointment. And keep wearing those masks. So, okay. Food trucks and ice cream trucks are starting to come back. What is the city doing to make sure they are being safe? So just like any business, we are doing our best to get out that updated business safety guidance from the governor. So with the trucks, I know that our team has been out and going out to businesses. I'll follow up and make sure that they're aware of where the trucks are so that they can go get in touch with them and make sure they're doing what they need to be doing. Okay. Debbie asks, if one cannot wear a mask due to a medical condition, do they need to carry a doctor's note? No. The answer is no. You don't need to carry a doctor's note for that. We're not going to we're not going to have law enforcement stop people on the street that aren't wearing masks and demand a note. But it might not be a bad idea, because I actually don't know the answer to this question, Debbie, in terms of going into a store. I think, really probably need to have somebody do your shopping for you during this time, if you can, because we really, for the health and safety of the others around you and of those store employees, we really do need to be wearing masks at stores. So while we're not going to be stopping people and demanding a doctor's note walking down the street, I would encourage you to utilize family and friends and neighbors to maybe help you get those essential goods until further notice, basically, just so that you're not uncomfortable yourself as you walk into those stores where masks aren't mandatory. Question about City Hall. So when will City Hall remain open to the public? So as Mayor Slaughter said about his City Hall, they're in yellow phase and they're still working remotely. They're still not open. I feel the same way. Certainly through yellow phase, we won't be open to the public, and we're still trying to figure out how we best keep the public safe and keep our employees safe. And we'll be doing, I think, probably a slow reopening of City Hall to the public. We've been able to get services out, remotely, and we are no longer, for example, accepting cash payments for refuse bills. So we don't need folks to come in and pay in cash at our Treasury Department, for example. So we'll continue to be encouraging those remote methods, but I do not anticipate opening City Hall to the public for at least a few weeks, because we've really got to make sure that we're able to handle that. I think for us, we've got to handle the employee protection piece first, and second, we'll be opening back up to the public. Okay, let me just check my other devices here. Just 1 second, please. Oh boy, lots of questions. Okay. Oh, these are from Tuesday. All right, here we go. So Debbie asked about garage sales. Yes. Again, please have your yard sale once we're in green if you can. We should be there in just a couple of weeks, June 19th, I'm hoping. we might be able to get to green. If you can hold off till then, that would be desirable. But if you can do it safely, you're okay to have a yard sale once we get into yellow, which would be starting next week. Let's see. Okay. And then Larry asked, does this, I think is yellow phase include indoor, outdoor patios for restaurants? I don't think I quite understand the question here. I'm sorry, I'm not on the Facebook Live right now. I'm just on the text here. For outdoor patios, you do still have to distance. So that's a very, very important thing. Are there any other, let's see, let me just make sure that I'm not missing anything. So the yellow guidance is up and we're getting that out. We will also have packets available at City Hall. You can go on Dick's Court right by the firehouse there. We'll have paper copies of the guidance so that you know what the rules are. If you want to pick up a paper copy, you're welcome. Hopefully we'll be there in a week. It's due to all the hard work of all of you out there, respecting each other by staying home and sacrificing as we've gone through this enormous crisis. We just have to learn how to live with this, and that entails a lot of difficult decisions, I believe, even more difficult and more complicated even than shutting down in the first place. And I, of course, want to thank everybody who's out there working at the nursing homes, working at the hospitals, working in the healthcare facilities, working on the front lines, be it from the city perspective, our police officers, our firefighters, our sanitation workers, our public works workforce, and our code enforcement officers, people who have had to continue to interact with the public in person through this time. I really appreciate everything that you're all doing, and I hope that we're continuing to do everything that we can. We have the Scranton 311 email, we've got the phone number, we have these Facebook town halls, and we'll continue to do the town halls once a week once we go into yellow phase. I really, really appreciate all the guidance that we get from you all. And we continue to be in touch with the hospitals, the education institutions, our nonprofits, our businesses, and you all as a community. And I appreciate that very much. So thank you. And we'll see you on Tuesday, which is also election day. So please make sure that you're voting and you're able to do it safely, though, and make sure to wear that mask. If you are going to the polls, please wear your mask to respect others. Thank you.